Now let us go on with our post-reading work, and let us try to analyze, understand, and interpret the story, The Cop and the Ensign. Modern theories of rhetoric distinguish between different types of irony. Verbal irony, when a speaker says one thing but means another, or when a literal meaning is contrary to its intended effect, we deal with verbal irony. Verbal irony is the use of words to convey something other than, and especially the opposite of the literal meaning of the words, to emphasize or make light of a circumstance or subject. Situational irony. Situational irony occurs when a reader or character expects one thing to happen, but something entirely different happens. A key attribute of situational irony, most commonly referred to as a surprise ending, is diversion from the expected outcome to the actual outcome of a plot. Writers use situational irony to make their stories interesting or humorous, and sometimes to force their readers to re-examine their own thoughts and values. Situational irony is closely connected with so-called irony of fate or cosmic irony. Irony of fate or cosmic irony. The expression irony of fate stems from the notion that the gods or the fates are amusing themselves by toying with the minds of mortals with deliberate ironic intent. Closely connected with situational irony, it arises from sharp contrasts between reality and human ideals, or between human intentions and actual results. Now, read the story carefully and identify which type of irony or which types of irony might apply to The Cop and the Anthem. Write down your answers and explain using proof from the text. Theme. What exactly is the theme of a story, and how can we recognize it? Is it the central idea of the story? Can a literary work have multiple themes? What is the theme of The Cop and the Ensign? Is the theme woven all the way through the story and the character actions, and so on, or it exists as a separate entity? Answer the above questions basing on the theoretical foundations presented below. A theme is an idea or message conveyed by a written text. Themes often explore timeless and universal ideas. One can single out the theme of love, war, family relations, and so on. Most themes are implied rather than explicitly stated. The theme is different from the superficial outlay of the text. It is normally the meaning of the text on a more abstract level. The author's point of view and attitude is revealed in the way he develops the theme of the story. Do you think that the theme of the story, The Cop and the Ensign, is still relevant today? Identify the purpose of the writer and examine the ideas that he includes in support of that purpose. The actions or events in the story are used to suggest theme. In O. Henry's short stories, we can find not only engaging action, but also strong themes. Arrangement of events and actions within a story is plot. The theme can be understood from the plot, which is the plan of a literary work comprising a series of incidents or events, which are gradually unfolded, and each of the incidents comes out of the preceding one and increases in intensity until the highest point is reached. In other words, the plot is a series of interlinked events in which the characters of the story participate. The short story has one main plot or series of events. There is no room for subplots or other storylines. The plot develops in the following stage. Exposition. So exposition or opening of the story is general atmosphere and mood existing at the beginning of the story. When a reader is exposed to the story, he or she identifies the setting, gets acquainted with the main idea of the story. Exposition also introduces the conflict of the story, at least initial conflict. Thus, exposition serves opening of the story, contains the setting, and introduces the characters. Rising action. The series of events and conflicts rise and progress intensively. The events and conflicts of the story gradually complicate and move towards the climax. Rising action usually suggests introducing knots. Climax. It's a Greek word meaning staircase or ladder. The turning point, the most intense moment, is called climax. Climax usually involves a discovery and suggests a crucial event. Event may be either an action or a mental decision of the main character. Mental decision means that the main character usually changes his or her understanding. Falling action. All of the action which follows the climax is falling action, the events occurring from the time of the climax to the end of the story. The main character may encounter more conflicts in this part of the story, but the end is inevitable. Resolution or denouement. Resolution or denouement means unraveling the knot. So denouement is a French word which literally means unraveling the knot. Since the complications, knots, are undone or untied, the conclusion, the tying together of all the threads, is called resolution. The central conflict is ended. Resolution closes the story. It is usually the final part of plot, which occurs at the end of the story. Now, analyze the story according to plot elements. What can be the climax or turning point in the story? The cop and the answer.